Hey, you awake yet? This is just me, Ryan. We're at Set the Pace Triathlon. I'll do a little live course overview of Ironman 70.3 Coeur. Got a few athletes doing that this weekend. So I wanted to direct you to, if you hit setthepacetriathlon.com, go under blog. That'll be the latest post on there is my little course overview and recommendations, specifically geared for my athletes, but I think anybody could use it and benefit from it. Excuse me, kind of dealing with allergies here in the Midwest, so I might cough and hack a little bit, so just kind of bear with me if you can. So basically, like I always recommend, you always want to download the athlete guide and read through it just to know all the transitions, and make sure if it's a 2 transition course, you know, where you're doing your layout. Looks like if you look at the course maps, you got your transition here, you got your bike map, so your transition and finish are at the same spot, so it looks like a 1 transition race, which is also always nice and handy, so you don't have to go out and set up multiple areas and mess with all that. So just read your athlete guide, make sure you know where you're going, where you're dropping all your stuff. It's a mandatory bike drop off the day before, or if you can bring it to race day morning if you want to, just what your options are. Checking the weather, it's looking pretty good actually. They got a little bit of rain looking like in the forecast. This is yesterday. So if you're like Kansas City, the forecast changes every 10 minutes, so I'd keep checking on that. So, you know, high 70s, maybe low 80s, that maybe change, maybe it's a little cooler, maybe a little warmer, but that's pretty good, especially for half. 44% humidity. I know we're starting to crank up the humidity here in the Midwest, you know, 80-90% during the day, so that'd be kind of refreshing. But do know the weather, you know, mostly sunny. Some of my advice is make sure you're ready for that sunshine. Get some sunscreen, especially in T1, T2. Just make sure you're lathered up, because the last 6-7 miles of that run, the last thing you want to be jacking around with is worrying about that sunburn that's creeping up all over you. And I wouldn't think heat exhaustion would be a problem, but if you've got a nice sunburn cooking on you, it's not going to feel very comfortable. The swim course, look at that. It's a nice, simple, rectangular out and back 2 turns. I mean, it does not get any better than that as far as technicality. Do notice that north is up on the page, so east is over here. So when you're sighting, either to the left on this side or to the right on this side, especially when you're looking for those buoys, the sun is going to come up and it's going to be right in your face. So I do recommend you know, shaded goggles, mirrored, smoke, whatever you got, just to make sure you have some protection against that sun glaring in your face as you swim, because if you only swim one side, at some point you're going to be facing the sun. If you do bilateral breathing, you might be okay with clear goggles, but I always recommend wearing tinted goggles so you make sure that sun's not a problem. So read on the blog. I won't bore you here in the live post about all my little tips for the swim. Don't go out super crazy. You know, there's going to be buoys here, there's going to be kayaks, lifeguards, all this other stuff. If you need to take a break, don't go out too hard, get all worked up. You know, hang back if you're kind of nervous about open swim start. Do read the athlete guide. A lot of races have gone to kind of a rolling start, so they let 3 or 4 of you go kind of through the start banner at a time. Some are still doing wave starts. I actually did not. Well, we can actually pull that up. Let's pull that up instead of just guessing. Let's do fine swim start, race director, schedule, stickers, advertisements, mandatory bike check-in, so you have to check your bike in Saturday. Excuse me. Always check out the pro athlete meet and greet. That's kind of fun to sit down and listen to the pros talking. Do hit an athlete briefing, especially if it's your first time doing this event, just to get the little tidbits. And probably the later athlete briefings are better because they've seen all the questions, so they know what to kind of answer towards the end. Race morning procedure, 4:30 race day parking. Make sure you know where you're parking. Skip all the advertisements. Swim cutoff, bike cutoff, run cutoff, wetsuit optional race. So that could be another thing. Just checking the water temperature. Yesterday it was 65.3 degrees in the water, Fahrenheit. So My guess is going to be wetsuit legal. Probably not mandatory, but I'd wear one full sleeve. Um, Hit my site, ping me in the comments. I've got videos on how to get your wetsuit on properly if you're worried about long sleeves and constricting and all that kind of fun stuff. Bike check, lost and found. Swim. We're looking for swim start. Checking process. Swim the bike. The bike cannot be removed. Plan ahead. Athlete briefing finish awards. Anti-doping. Don't do it. Swim cap, no fins, no aqua socks, wetsuit, swim goggles, paddlers. Core for 1 hour and 10 minutes. Each athlete will have 1 hour and 10 minutes to complete the swim. Right pull off the course. Wetsuit rules. Swim policy, swimmer policy, swim the bike transition. Well, unfortunately, I just kind of wasted your time a little bit looking for. I can't really find. Let's do wave. Swim wave due to water temperature. So that's swim wave. Optional wave, wetsuit wave. And then there's an athlete pro wave with the same. Huh. Well, that'd be a good question for athlete briefing to find out if you're starting waves, you're starting rolling start, because usually they'll have kind of a different swim cap colors and kind of listing of waves. So make sure, usually the pros are released in waves. So that's something to look into. Make sure if you're ready for waves or if it's going to be a rolling start, just kind of what to expect at that swim start. So jumping into the bike, I think this is going to be the key to the race. This is going to make or break your race. The weather looks good, so that should be a problem. So you should feel really good out there. Just make sure you're keeping hydrated, keep on your hydration, and keep on your nutrition, because this is the time to really take it in. But notice the elevation. Bike, it's nice out and back, so you're going to hit a couple climbs to and back. So if you look at this elevation chart, I'd recommend maybe even going out and just driving it real quick, because since it's one loop, 26 miles to drive isn't that big of a deal. So you get a nice feel for it. So this first little climb, you're going from, it's about 500 feet gain in maybe 1 or 2 miles. So that's going to be a nice long climb, nice descent, and then you've got in that out and back, you do a turnaround and you're going to hit it again. That's going to be a little bit of a challenge. So I definitely don't slam it on the first 17, 18 miles, because you're going to need that in order to take on the rest of that course at the end. That last, 2/3 maybe, not even that, is going to be technical as far as climbing and just managing your energy expenditure. So definitely don't just hammer that first hill, because you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 more climbs after that. So, if you feel like you have it on this last one, maybe kind of to, smash down the gears and kind of attack it, because you got a nice steep descent coming back in transition. So just make sure that when you're riding that first hill, you don't just kill it. And especially if you're probably going to feel nice and good, you're coming in, you're like, I have not many climbs, going nice and smooth. So make sure you're expecting what's on the course. Make sure you look at the course map, maybe even drive the course when you get there. So the run, said as long as you've managed the bike portion well, the run isn't killer. You look down, it's got a nice little few spikes here, about 40 feet of elevation gain, total 414 feet. So that's not too bad in my estimation. So just make sure you're ready. You're going to be out here. I've never done this course, so I'm not sure if you're going to be in shaded area or sunny. Just plan on being in the sun. Like I said, sunscreen, make sure it's in your transition area. T1, T2, lather up, spray up, rub it all over, just to eliminate that from being a factor. Just make sure also that you're greased up. You got Aquaphor where you need it, especially before the race starts, and maybe you grab some T2. So you're on the course, if you're starting to sweat, you got, you're damp, you're wet, your suit's starting to, or your tri-kit's starting to wear in spots, this is going to be where it's going to start really showing up. You're going to start chafing, you're going to start getting the blisters, doing this run out, especially if it's kind of low 80s. You're definitely going to to feel it. So be ready for that. Manage the bike, and really the run is where you're going to be able to kind of let all that energy out, because it looks pretty straightforward. So overall, I don't see too many. I mean, there's no weather concerns that I see as far as the forecast goes. Like I said, I keep checking on that to see if there's going to be rain. It looks like there's rain early in the week, but right now it looks pretty comfortable. But don't let it surprise you. In the morning, it might be a little cool, so make sure you wear warm clothes. You can stuff in your transition bag before the start. Indian Wells, it was in the 40s in the morning, so I actually put my wetsuit on and just wore my clothes over the top of it, stayed warm, and it was time, chucked everything in my transition bag, and just wore my wetsuit pretty much the whole morning after I got done with the porta potty stops. So basically, just plan on staying warm before the race starts, and afterwards it should be a pretty straightforward, nice day. Winds 6 miles per hour, man, it does not, it's looking pretty sweet. 68% humidity in the evening, but 44% during the day. I think you're going to have a nice weather day for this race. So I think the key is going to be managing the bike course. I think this is going to make or break your race. If you go out here and hammer the first half, you're going to have to deal with a lot in the second half. So just make sure that you are, because you got to go out and go back and ride all this, which kind of sucks to come back by transition. Always, at least just one loop technically, but it's out and back. Kind of, a little bit mentally not as exciting to ride the same course over out and back, but just manage the hills. I think that's going to be the key. Focus on those hills. Focus on hydration, especially, doing a climb. You're going to spike your heart rate. It's not a good time to drink or eat. So you're coming on this descent on the backside. Make sure you're drinking, eating, getting ready for this next climb. Got the climb, got a little bit of a respite here, so maybe grab a drink, grab some snacks, got another ascent, and then kind of in between, got a couple rollers here. Make sure you're staying on top of that hydration. Then coming back, you got a nice wide open. This might be an opportunity to go a little bit above your 75% FTP for if you're going by power, or go a little bit higher in zone 4. Kind of push it a little bit here in this little section. Like I said, get some hydration, get some nutrition, have your snacks, be ready for this next hill, because that's going to do you in if you're not ready. So I think that's going to be the key, is managing that bike course. 3,400 feet of elevation gain. I don't think it's going to be the PR course of everybody's dreams. It's not flat as a pancake. So I think if you manage it well and you come into the run, you'll be in a good spot. So that's my takes on the race. Again, setthepacetriathlon.com. Go to blog. Unfortunately, my internet's a little slow this morning. And I got all the course maps and everything off the website. So at the blog post. Comment on this post if you have any questions or want any ideas from me. Doing a last minute check. That's not athlete guide, swim wave, pro wave. Yeah, I just run cutoff, wetsuit, bike cutoff, swim cutoff. Yeah, that's gonna be a question to ask. Is the swim start waves, or is it going to be rolling start? So that's going to be a question. So you should find this out as soon as you check in and get your swim cap. If it's waves, they'll have different colors, and usually they'll have signs posted. You might even hit the website up. Maybe the Facebook page would have that. Usually they'll post information on the swim waves. Hey, there I am live. So Coeur d'Alene. Looks like Matt Hansen will be there, so that'll be fun. So like I said, go to the pro athlete briefing. It's always fun to kind of listen to the pros talk, and especially if they've done the race before, they might have a few tips for you. Iron Kids, VIP, Iron Kids, advertisements. So yeah, so just pay attention. Yeah, something for Santa Rosa, photos. So just ask the question when we get there, check in, is it swim waves, is it rolling start? Just wrap your head around, are you going to be swimming with a lot of people, or are you going to go 2 to 3 at a time, or are you just going to let waves go off the beach, or do you start from the swim? Just make sure you're aware of how that swim start's going to go for you. So that's all I got for you. So like I said, if you got any questions, comment on the blog post, comment on the Facebook Live. Just let me know your thoughts. Good luck out there.